Ambassador Zixthera's 6 eyes blinked in asynchronous confusion as she reviewed the human military documentation for the 3rd time. Her crystalline fingers trembled against the datapad, causing small chimes to echo through her diplomatic chambers aboard the Concordia, the Galactic Tribunal's flagship. "This cannot be accurate," she whispered to herself, her translator struggling with the concept of disbelief in her native Velthari tongue. The door to her chambers hissed open, and Admiral Chen Wei stepped inside, his uniform crisp despite having just completed what humans called a routine inspection of their training facilities. Behind him walked Captain Sarah Rodriguez, whose easy smile seemed almost predatory to Zixthera's herbivorous sensibilities. "Ambassador," Admiral Chen nodded respectfully. "You requested this meeting about our military protocols?" Zixthera's primary eyes focused on the human, while her secondary ones continued scanning the documentation. "Admiral Chen, the tribunal has received disturbing reports about human military preparation. According to Article 847 of the Galactic Convention, any form of deliberate physical or psychological distress inflicted upon sentient beings is classified as torture and is strictly prohibited." Captain Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, with all due respect, we're not torturing anyone. This is just basic training." "Basic training," Zixthera repeated, her voice synthesizer adding an incredulous harmonic. "According to this report, human military recruits are subjected to sleep deprivation, forced physical exertion beyond normal biological limits, exposure to extreme temperatures, deliberate nutritional restriction, psychological stress through verbal aggression, and something called tear gas exposure." Admiral Chen exchanged a glance with Captain Rodriguez. "That's accurate, yes. And you do this to your own species?" Zixthera's secondary eyes widened in horror. "Your own young? Well, they volunteer for it," Captain Rodriguez said, as if this explained everything. The ambassador's crystalline skin shifted from its usual blue to a sickly yellow-green. In her 40 years of diplomatic service across 17 different species, she had never encountered anything so barbaric. The Velthari trained their warriors through meditation and mental exercises. The powerful Cruzon built strength through ceremonial dances. Even the militaristic Gorthak prepared for battle through strategic simulations and honor duels. But humans seem to prepare for war by subjecting themselves to war. "You force them to crawl through mud while explosions detonate overhead?" she asked, referencing another section of the report. "Combat conditioning," Admiral Chen explained matter-of-factly. "They need to be able to function under stress. You make them run until they vomit? Builds endurance and mental toughness. You deprive them of sleep for days and then demand they solve complex problems? That's actually from our officer training program," Captain Rodriguez added helpfully. "We call it stress inoculation." Zixthera set down the datapad and stared at the humans with all 6 eyes. "In the name of the 17 sacred moons of Veltar, why?" Admiral Chen was quiet for a moment, considering his words. "Ambassador, may I ask how the tribunal typically responds to existential threats? We convene emergency sessions, analyze the threat matrix, assign specialized committees, and develop consensus-based response protocols," she replied automatically. "How long does that take?" "For a Category 5 threat? Perhaps 6 to 8 rotations, assuming rapid deliberation." "What you call rotations, we call months," Captain Rodriguez said quietly. "In 6 to 8 months, a Category 5 threat could conquer half the galaxy." Admiral Chen moved to the viewport, gazing out at the stars. 300 years ago, Ambassador, humanity faced extinction. Not from aliens, we didn't even know you existed yet. We nearly destroyed ourselves. We learned something in those dark centuries. When death comes calling, you don't have time for committees or consensus. You need people who can function when everything falls apart. People who can make impossible decisions under unimaginable pressure. People who can find a way to win when winning seems impossible. So you torture them to prepare them for this? Zixthera's voice carried a note of anguish. "We challenge them," Captain Rodriguez corrected. "Every human who enters our military does so by choice. They know what they're signing up for. We push them to their limits and beyond, not to break them but to show them that their limits are farther than they ever imagined." Admiral Chen turned back to face the ambassador. "When the Zarathi Hive attacked the colony on New Geneva, our forces were outnumbered 50 to 1. The tribunal's response fleet was still analyzing the threat matrix. Our Marines held the line for 3 days straight without reinforcement, without sleep, without adequate supplies. They saved 40,000 civilians. The Velthari meditation techniques would have, Zixthara began. Would have gotten everyone killed, the Admiral interrupted, not unkindly. Ambassador, I mean no disrespect to your people or your methods, but when the universe sends monsters to devour the innocent, you don't stop them with meditation. You stop them with people who have been through hell and came out the other side stronger. Zixthara was silent for a long moment, her skin cycling through various shades of contemplation. The other species in the tribunal? They find human methods disturbing. They find human effectiveness disturbing, Captain Rodriguez said. There's a difference. Is there no other way? The ambassador asked. Surely advancement in technology and tactics and diplomacy. Admiral Chen smiled grimly. Technology fails. Tactics become obsolete. Diplomacy breaks down. But a human who has been pushed beyond their breaking point and chose not to break, that's something you can always count on, even if it seems cruel. Kindness that leaves people unprepared for reality is the cruelest thing of all, the captain replied. We'd rather have them curse our names in training than die calling for help that won't come. Zixthara picked up the datapad again, her multiple eyes scanning the horror and logic of human preparation for war. The tribunal will not be pleased with my report. We're not asking the tribunal to adopt our methods, Admiral Chen said. We're asking them to understand why we use them. And if they don't? The two humans exchanged another look, and Zixthara caught something in their expressions. Not arrogance or defiance, but a quiet, unshakable resolve. Then we'll keep doing what we've always done, Captain Rodriguez said simply. Whatever it takes to keep the darkness at bay. As the humans left her chambers, Zixthara stared out at the stars and wondered if perhaps the galaxy's greatest fortune wasn't that humanity had joined the tribunal. It was that humanity had chosen to be the tribunal's shield, even if no one else understood the cost of carrying it.